What's up, everybody? It is Strider coming at you again with another deck tech. Today we're going to be talking about a deck that, much like Green Black Elves, which we talked about a while ago, was much more popular before the patch for BFC. It's still good. It's still popular. I actually think it's really well positioned right now. That's kind of why I wanted to talk about it today. Let's go ahead and, but yeah, we'll talk about that in the matchup section. Like always, I will post a link to a tapped out deck for you guys to take a look at. Yeah, let's just jump right in. First and foremost, Fiery Impulse, just a pretty cheap interactive spell. You sometimes need ways to interact. Not very good against like the green-red ramp decks and some of the slower control decks, but has its place in a lot of matchups, especially against just like a ton of randoms, like a lot of the random aggro decks you see. Perilous Mirror, pretty much the best 2-drop that's an artifact in the game, just the way it is. It's going away, unfortunately, with the new patch, and we're getting Bronze Sable, which is just god-awful. But I don't know, we'll figure out a solution to it, I'm sure. The fact, actually, that what's it called? Something else has gone away that helps this deck a lot. Oh, the elf guy that kills flyers. He's pretty good against this deck, and the fact that that's going helps. But anyways, next, Jace Friends Prodigy, just a good card. Another 2-drop, can block some small things. He'll block this guy, ironically. Yeah, just a dude that, and he gets back some of your burn. He's especially good with like burn that can go to the face, like this, or these two spells, because of just the way he works. Just being able to just like this, suddenly going from 4 damage to 8 damage is kind of amazing. So yeah, just another good card. Throwing Knife, kind of my favorite artifact that is cheap and can stay on the board while being pretty difficult to interact with. That's mainly for this card right here. Just having something on the board that just pretty much guarantees you an artifact every turn is quite good. Also, just great with Thopters. Just throw this on one of your Thopters and just beat down for 3 instead of 1. Ravaging Blaze, really our only way to deal with big things in the deck. And I don't know, the fact that it doubles and can hit the face as well in the late game is nice. Just another win condition. Twin Bolt, more cheap interaction. I have a 2-2 split right now, Fire Impulse and Twin Bolt. Fire Impulse obviously can go to 3, but this can also hit 2 different things. Also, this can go to the face where Fire Impulse can't. So, I don't know, I go back and forth on which one I like more. So right now I just have a 2-2 split. Just one of the best cards in the deck right here. Chief of the Foundry just fits right in, pumps pretty much almost every creature you have. Makes your Thopters just excellent. 2-2s are so much bigger than 1-1s. Great in multiples as well, because they stack on each other. They're not legendary. Let's see, next, Chandra, just another win condition, just a pretty cheap threat that happens to be very good with Whirler Rogue, actually. Can really, I don't know, can really take over a game if left unchecked. Not quite as good in this deck as it is in like the mono red deck, because that deck has so many 1-drops, it's so easy to flip it. But I don't know, you can still do some things. You still got Fiery Impulse, Twin Bolt. You still got some cheap spells you can use to kind of go off with her. Thopter Engineer, another great card in this deck. Gives all your artifacts haste, obviously good. It halfway has haste itself, which is great. It can come down the turn after you play this to just get that surprise hit in for the draw card effect. So yeah, just a great card. Gear per Gear Crafter, pretty good. Has a little more power than Thopter Engineer, but probably not quite as good. Still gives you that artifact though, and I don't really know a better card for it for this slot. Artificer's Epiphany, just a little bit of card draw. I don't have much in here, but just, I don't know, just having a little bit more. This deck is kind of controlling at times. I would say it's mostly aggressive, but I don't know. This card, it's reasonable on a power level scale, especially in this deck where you're pretty much always going to have the artifact. Exquisite Firecraft, just a solid burn spell, solid removal spell. Can go to the face, can go to a creature. Just good, solid move, so uncounterable in the late game. Warlord Rogue, pretty great. I actually think it might be better than Pia and Karen Nalar. A lot of times, just can get stuff in there that otherwise wouldn't. Yeah, just a good card. Pia and Karen Nalar. I'm long. This isn't better, but it's close. In certain decks, like if this was like a green-blue deck, I think this card's better. But anyways, Pia and Karen Nalar, pretty good card. Can really take over the game. My God, if your opponent has a Kothafed, this card just crushes them. They start taking like 6 a turn without you even having to do anything. Or if you even have like one of these out, it's like, yeah, go ahead, bud, draw a card. You're going to be dead in a turn. Reclusive Artificer, obviously pretty reasonable in this deck. I have one. I don't love this card, especially because we already have so many powerful 4s. Like, literally, our 4 drops are quite good in this deck, as you can see. Yeah, just, yeah. So I don't know. This might get cut, but I have one in here for now. 2 Thought Designer, kind of the engine that makes this card, that kind of gives it the reach it needs. A lot of times you kind of peter out, but then you have one of these going, and you just keep drawing and keep drawing. Mana base is pretty straightforward. Notice, even though this is so heavy, I still have a lot of islands, and that's because even though we have a lot of red, the blue that we do have is very... these cards, I really want to be able to cast these on turn 4, so we really need that 2 blue mana. 3 Thopter, Foundry of the Consuls. I usually have 2, but I just added a 3rd just to test it out. I don't know. We'll see if it's too hard on the mana. I might have to add back another colored source. But, yeah, I don't know. Just a powerful... It's nice to have a spell that turns into... or a land that turns into a spell in the late game can really... I don't know, it can really, it's kind of like drawing a card, just drawing an extra card. In terms of matchups, just in terms of the big 2, this deck's actually pretty well positioned up against, I think, both, like, red-based aggressive decks, as well as the ramp decks. It's good against red because, I mean, you have, first off, you have, like, this card's very good. You have some cheap interaction. Obviously, Perilous Mirror's great against them. Plus, you have, like, cheap interaction like Twin Bolt, Fiery Impulse. You have creatures that make multiple blockers. I mean, we're talking like these 2. This guy makes a ton. This guy makes a ton. You know, just you have a lot of things that are quite good against aggressive decks. Also, sorry. You also make, and in terms of the green-red ramp deck, this deck's just like, I would say, like a smidgen too fast for that deck to beat consistently. Like, you will just be in such a favorable position by the time they can really go off that it doesn't matter. Plus, you have flyers. Like, that deck is very good at gumming up the ground in the late game. Like, it'll play like, I don't know, that Omnath, or even something like that 8/5, the Gaia's Revenge, or Desolation Twin, stuff like that. Even and obviously it's cheap plays, like Elvish Visionary and Gatecreeper Vine, very good at just putting something on the ground, but not super great against flyers. So that's another thing this deck has going for it. I don't really know. Its worst matchup is probably like Blue-Black Control. It doesn't have a lot of... It's just going to peter out against that deck quite often, especially if they have like Languish. If they have a Languish draw, you're pretty much dead, and you don't have anything quite as powerful. Now, listen, if this sticks and this sticks, you're going to win that game. But they have so much interaction and so much... I don't know, they have Languish, and sometimes I see them run Rising Miasma now, that they will just kind of beat you. Just in the late game, they'll beat you. But if that doesn't happen and you're able to stick this and something that they can't interact with, like this, you're probably going to win that game just out of just sheer value. So... Anyways, yeah, that's the deck. Like I said, I will post this to YouTube, or to I'm sorry, I will post a link to Tapped Out with the deck with the list on there, and you guys can check it out. And then I will be uploading a video with the deck in a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.